Well, welcome back, everyone. Lights, camera, action. It's Make Our World Your Runway. You know, this is the weekly show that interviews the most fascinating individuals from the world of modeling, pageantry, beauty, fashion, business, and even the entertainment industry. And of course, today we have another very special and lovely guest that's in the studio. But before we do that, we have a couple of announcements, and we always want to thank our sponsors, which is the Global Trade Chamber, 100 Successful Women in Business, and Luxe Salon, Queen Beauty Network, Tower Club, Royal Dames, Vida Designs, Casa Calabria, and the Bangladesh American Chamber of Commerce. So thank you so much, sponsors, for making this show possible every week. And of course, we do want to tell our viewers, remember to subscribe to the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel so that you can see all the shows from Make Our World Your Runway and Success Stories. And I highly recommend that our viewers do tune into Success Stories. The show features the most amazing women in the world of business and community service. From humble beginnings to successful entrepreneurs, these women will totally inspire you. And of course, get ready for some exciting conferences, speakers, and awards as 100 Successful Women in Business and the Global Trade Chamber come to a city near you. And that next city is going to be Sunrise, Florida on May 14th. It's a national roadshow, Women in Business Expo. It's a full day of business conferences, networking, and connections designed to help women grow, scale, and lead. So once again, it's a business expo and vendors, expert speakers, high-impact networking, nationwide exposure. And of course, Make Our World Your Runway will always be there going live. Now, speaker opportunities are available, and vendor spaces also are available. Now, take it from me, these shows are always a sellout. Now, they are a free show, but if you want to go, you must register. So please go to the email event@globaltradechamber.com, or you can dial 954-839-8866 for all the information. Once again, register for a free event if you want to be a speaker or you want to be a vendor. There's definitely availability, but you must register now before it sells out. So once again, event@globaltradechamber.com or 954-839-8866 for all the information. And we do hope to see you there on May the 14th at the Civic Center in Sunrise. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to our show. I have a wonderful, wonderful guest. She's got such a bio. I'm only going to read a little bit about her, and then we're going to discuss everything this woman has done. And most of you know I've got a lot of accomplishments, but not compared to this woman. She's been absolutely amazing. But anyway, her story is rooted in her family's escape from Cuba and their pursuit of opportunity in the United States. That journey shaped her deep respect for the freedoms guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution and inspired her lifelong commitment to civic engagement. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce her so we can discuss all her accomplishments. So please welcome Mery Lopez-Palma, Esquire, to Make Our World Your Runway. So welcome, Mery.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, you're a candidate for State Representative District 102.
I am as well, yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. It's a blessing to have the opportunity to run for office, as well as, you know, practicing law and running the Vicky Bakery and doing all the charitable events that I do. So it's a blessing. It's a good balance.
Yes, it is.
But we have to have people run for office. That's what makes America great. If we don't do it, then there's never change.
That's true. You know how many people have always said to me, Angela, you should run for office, especially because I'm they want me to be an advocate for health care.
That's wonderful.
But I'm always, and I have a proverbial gift to gab, as you could possibly tell, but I'm always afraid because, you know, I always say, well, I get out there, opinionated. I just don't need anybody coming behind me with a gun.
Yeah.
that
can be scary.
That is the scary part, yeah.
And it should never be taken to that point in this country. I think if you have the heart and the passion and you know something has to change and it's not happening year after year, and you just wake up one morning and you just have this calling.
Yes.
And I had this calling personally, and I was like, okay, the things that need to happen aren't happening. Home affordability is not happening. And as a real estate attorney, client after client after client, you hear the complaints, hey, I'm moving my kids back home because they can't afford to buy a house.
Right.
I'm having to close my garage and make it an efficiency so that I can afford my taxes and my insurance. And I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? And the government at the end of the day should not be your landlord, shouldn't be our landlord.
Exactly. And that's what's happening. And I think what's happening in a lot of these buildings where people rent and you know, they say affordable housing for seniors. My husband and I have been looking at that. Forget it. It's not affordable housing for seniors. We have a place up in Palm Beach. It's called Devonshire. Place is absolutely stunning, okay? I mean, everything you could think of is there for seniors. If you don't want to cook breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you can just go downstairs, okay, to the dining room. They put on shows with the big bands coming in. There's an 18-hole golf course. It's everything. $400,000 to get in.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. That's lovely. And then it's like $4,000 or $5,000 a month.
Wow.
No garage. The first thing I said, oh, this beautiful place, we've got no garage.
So no storage.
No storage. And now they do have a concierge. If you get sick, there's a doctor and nurse on the premises. I mean, it's unbelievable, but how many people can afford it? Okay. Now my uncle, because he had that kind of money, he wanted to move in there, which my aunt was silly. She should have gone in there because at the time my mother was living with me. We're only like 15, 20 minutes from the place, and he felt if anything happened, my mother was there. She didn't want to go. Okay. She would have been well taken care of there. But just the fact that $400,000 just to get in, I said, if you got that kind of money, you might as well just go out and buy a house cash.
And have a full nurse 24 hours.
Full nurse 20, right.
And have the service. I guess it's really, you know, it's what you want to do with the rest of your life. And how much 401k, how much investment you actually save. But not everyone is in that position.
No, not everyone is in that position.
Yeah, and then when you have a fixed Social Security or a fixed pension, and your taxes and insurance go up every year, anywhere from 3 to 6%, but your income's not going up 3 to 6%. Just do the math. And that's why they are carving out their houses and renting out rooms. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle everywhere, not just Florida. It's a struggle everywhere, and we need to do something. We need to find a solution.
You know, my husband and I both worked in New York City in the 1990s, and back then the salaries there were unbelievable, okay? My husband's base pay, a lot of people look at me and go, what? It was $100,000 without commission, okay? Now, his company had moved him down here going back in 2000. His last W-2, even after taxes, was $275,000. And he used to say to me, and now up in New York, when you worked in New York City, you had to pay state tax, city tax, of course, federal cost of living. But my husband used to say to me, if you can't live on that kind of money, something is wrong. But how many people have had that opportunity in their life? I used to say, I've always felt like I was Cinderella in a coach.
Yeah, the average median income is $60,000.
That's it. But New York,
and you're lucky if you make that much.
But New York does not pay those kind of salaries today. That was back then. Not today.
New York is on a bad course, but that's a subject for another day.
Yeah, that is a subject for another day. It's not, you know, unfortunately, New York City, I mean, it's still a great city, but it got hit with 9/11, pretty much destroyed that, okay? And then they got hit terribly with COVID, when COVID hit. So New York...
Legendary restaurants had to shut down.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean,
the steakhouse, there was a steakhouse that had to shut down. It had been open for 40 years. Just so many places. COVID was a terrible thing.
Ben Benson's shut down for a while. They came back, but
thank God in Florida with DeSantis, we didn't shut down as long.
We only shut down for about 4 weeks. You know,
and he allowed a lot of us to stay open.
Yes.
If it was a necessary business, I was able to keep the law firm open.
Right.
Because people were facing foreclosure. Yes, and Governor DeSantis gave us that no other state did.
No.
So I will tell you, living in Florida is a true blessing.
It wasn't. You know, a lot of people, they don't understand Governor DeSantis. I do. I had the opportunity to meet him one time. And during COVID, the cruise lines couldn't get out of port. And he knew, because he made a speech one time down at the port in Palm Beach, the port of Palm Beach. And at that time, it was Bahama Paradise Cruise Lines, okay? They switched to Margaritaville. But 𝐂𝐚𝐿 was the CEO, and he was down there, and he knew I knew O'Neill very well. In fact, they nicknamed me Miss Bahamas because for 6 years, I had my pageant on that ship. And Governor DeSantis always did a letter from my program book he said, I'm very proud of you bringing all these people from overseas and bringing tourism to our state.
That's wonderful.
And I always appreciated that. Well, we couldn't seem to get, with COVID, the cruise ships were not going anywhere. Right. And I had gone to Governor DeSantis and I said, look, you know I do my pageant on that ship. I said, we can't seem to go out. I said, now, we've got the vaccine here. We know the guidelines of the CDC. I said, what is the next step? He got that ship out.
Wow. Praise God.
He got that ship out. He called.
He made it happen. DeSantis is that way. He makes it happen.
A lot of people don't know him. He's the kind of person, if you sit with him, doesn't matter what party you're from or what sign you're, but if you give him the facts straight and narrow, he's going to move on it.
Which is what we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Being a moderator.
Being a moderator.
He is a perfect example of what it is to reach on both sides.
He does that.
Yes, and he's a great governor. We're going to miss him because he's done. His term is over.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, good lessons have come from Governor DeSantis because we have to follow in his footsteps. We have to be moderators. We have to be able to bring people together. And right now, the biggest issue, which he's been talking about, is home affordability.
Yeah, he has been talking about that. I've been listening to that.
Leading the charge on that as well.
Yeah, he's leading the charge on that because, again, I mean, look, it's great to build up infrastructure and all that, but if things are getting so pricey, I mean,
you can't afford it. Our seniors are being kicked out of their homes.
Tell me about
Our seniors are leaving the state of Florida, and those are the ones we should be cherishing.
Right.
Because they've dedicated, they are homesteaded. We have seniors that have been here 20, 30, 40 years. It's a legacy, it's a generational blessing, and we cannot push them out of the state.
No.
We need to keep that legacy going. And part of what Governor DeSantis is saying, and I'm fully on board, is that we have to do something about taxes and property insurance.
Yes, property insurance. He was also tackling car insurance. That's why I think State Farm gave money back, because he said, come on, this is ridiculous, you know. But yeah, and even for veterans used to be the deals that they used to get buying homes. You could be able, if you had good credit, you could get that 2.5% to go into them.
No down payment.
No down payment, exactly. And Palm Beach County had something a little bit different that veterans could get. But now all of a sudden, this has all disappeared. So how do you survive? How do you live, okay, if you don't have that?
Remember what we were talking about? Yes. People are renting their rooms. The kids are moving back home. And these are the things we can't do. No. We have to find a solution. And, you know, I have a couple of ideas. Some of the legislation that I want to write and propose. But, you know, there are ways of saving. Even if we just completely freeze property tax. Just freeze it. The municipalities won't go crazy and get upset, because I get it. We have to have those monies to pay for the streets, the firemen. We have to back our blue. We have to back our red, which I'm fully behind. Right. And we have to put money for schools. But if we just freeze them, let's just stop going up. Let's just leave property taxes where they are.
Yeah.
And if you've been homesteaded for 3 years or more, 3 years or more, 50 years old or older, let's do a backwards drop. So we freeze you where you are, and every year your taxes decline. That's going to do two things. It's going to save that family immediate relief. Right. And then the city knows they have to tighten up that belt and start cutting away at their expenses little by little. Now, we're just talking homestead owners. We're not talking property investors. We're not talking second homes. We're not talking commercial. Right. Let's just do something for our homestead owners.
The homestead owners, yeah. And I understand you do have to pay taxes, because when you pay taxes, of course, you know, that fuels, like you say, you pay the firemen, you pay the policemen, you know, things like that.
The potholes.
And then what they should do, even for people that rent, when you, like, I've been in a building since 2009, okay? After a while, I should plateau on rent. It shouldn't have to go up every year, okay?
And see, and that's a good point. But when your property insurance is, if you own that building, and it's not that the landlord is just this evil person, he has to cover his expenses. So you can't really put a rent cap, because if the landlord expenses go up, he has to keep charging more rent. So it's like a hamster wheel. It never ends. So we have to find solutions that are real.
Right. So if he, as an owner,
if he gets a relief in property insurance, then he can extend that to the tenant.
Yeah, he can extend that.
But right now, I think the biggest issue is that our seniors are having to leave Florida, or the kids are having to move in. And I don't know if you know about Broward. In every city in Broward, there's grant money available for first-time buyers. Some cities have 80,000 up to 120,000. I've been talking about this. You know, it's something that I do as a real estate attorney, is educating first-time buyers. There is grant money available. So if you're going to buy a Miramar and Weston, every city in Broward has grant money. And most people don't know that, because I say something in Spanish all the time. Si tú no sabes, tú no puedes. If you don't know, you can't do it.
Well, my husband has a saying very similar to that. If no one tells you, you don't know.
Exactly. So it's a matter of getting the information out. And that's part of what I do. I do the community outreach, first-time buyers, and it doesn't matter what nationality you're from. A lot of people say I work with a lot of Hispanics. Yes, because I speak Spanish.
Of course.
So I do work with a lot of are Hispanic, and I think Senator Geller put out a percentage at this proclamation for International Women's Day.
Yes.
I was blessed to be awarded for the community service on the U.S. Constitutions.
Wow.
And he talked about statistics, and he said 34% was white in Broward and 32 Hispanics in Broward. So that's a big number. I had no idea. And Senator Geller announced that at the proclamation for women. And I was like, it's amazing how the Hispanic community is. Well, they can't afford Miami as much anymore.
No,
so
they
they're
can't.
coming up to Broward.
They're coming to Broward, yeah. And Palm Beach is very expensive. It used to be almost like the way Miami was. Where I'm at, that's very expensive. My husband and I are thinking about moving back to Broward because we lived in Coral Springs when he was first transferred here.
That's a lovely area.
Yeah, we Coral
Still
Springs.
affordable.
Coral Springs, yes.
Even Tamarack has some nice property.
Tamarack has some nice.
The prices haven't gotten out of control. So, and there's grant money there. So when you're ready to look, I'll sit down with you and point you in that direction.
Absolutely. I'll refer you over to the master of the house because he's the one that does all the numbers. Wonderful. But I mean, just speaking to you, no wonder why you've been a visionary entrepreneur for over 22 years with all your experience. No wonder why. Yeah, that's been great. But just to get off that subject a little bit, something a little friendly. Well, this whole thing has been friendly, which has been great. But you're the owner of Vicky Bakery Franchise in Weston and Sunrise.
Yes, we love Vicky Bakery. Ever since, I mean, it's been around since 1972. A lot of people don't know it's a Cuban-American bakery.
Oh, okay.
Started out of Hialeah.
Wow.
Family, all family. And for many years, growing up, that was like a big luxury. Oh, we're going to Vicky Bakery to get our pastelitos, our little guava with cheese. And then they would do these big cakes, and they always had the best packages because the prices are right. Where can you go and have a steak, rice, and bean meal for $12?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. But you can at Vicky Bakery.
At Vicky Bakery,
So
okay.
our prices are still very reasonable.
That's great.
And the culture, it's beautiful. So my husband and I had an opportunity. I had represented several of the franchise owners as a lawyer.
Right.
And one of the franchise owners said, Mary, you should open one. We need one in Weston Sunrise. And I said, well, that's an interesting concept. God, God always throws something at you and opens a door, opens a window. And
that's right.
My husband said, you know what? During COVID, everybody had to eat.
That's right.
Our businesses shut down, but bakeries were still open. They were still feeding people. Even if it was just delivery, they were still doing it. Right. So we said, for our kids, we have 4 kids, and if they don't want to become lawyers, you can't force them to do what you do.
Right.
So we said, let's do it. So we opened up Vicky Bakery, and we're there right in front of Markham Park and Weston Road off of 84th. We're the largest location. We have almost 2,500 square feet.
Wow.
And we have a private room. No other Vicky has that. So if you want to have an event, a board meeting, come on down. Just give me a call and we'll reserve it for you.
I love it. I love the name, Vicky's Bakery. It says something. It's got a ring to it. And it's so funny when you say that about COVID, because people did have to eat. And I remember going online, ordering the food from Publix, and either having it delivered, or they had it where you could pull up with your car.
Right.
And they would put the
They would leave the bags. The Instacart became super.
Instacart. Oh my God.
I lived off of Instacart.
Yeah, we did.
And they're not sponsoring your program today, but let me tell you, they are a great company, because I'm addicted to Instacart. I love it. I still to this day use it because they were so available during COVID.
They were available during COVID. I mean, that was a crazy time. I think I caught up on more. You know, I love comedy. Yeah, but I also love cartoons. I think I caught up on more of my cartoons during COVID. I'd get up in the morning, Bugs Bunny in the morning, and Bugs Bunny.
Well, you know what's funny? My daughter Elizabeth and I, we during the COVID time, we created a jam company, a fruit spread.
I see that there, tropical fruit spread. Yeah,
So we were in the kitchen tinkering with flavors, and we came out with Mery's tropical fruit spread, and we came up with Berry Madness, which is a pink label, and it's all the fruits that help fight cancer. So our label is pink, and part of the proceeds of that sale we give to different, St. Jude's, different foundations that help with cancer. So my daughter and I were like, okay, we created the labels. There's a little Cuban woman on the bottle. She lost a red shoe. She's the Latin Cinderella.
Latin Cinderella.
And
Oh,
so
that's
if you-
great.
Yeah, so if you know where she lost her shoe, we were giving trips away. And when you open the lid of the jar, there was a red shoe. You were the winner. So we did that. We were totally entertained with that drink.
Oh, no, that was great. And, there was so many of people that I know that during COVID, a lot of entertainers couldn't get out there and perform, okay? And I was just telling you about Melina Almodovar, who's doing Salsa Fest next week. And
It's going to be great.
oh yeah, it's going to be great. It's at Arts Park there in Hollywood. But something that she did, which was absolutely amazing, every Friday night, and I loved it. My mother was alive at that time. We used to dance in the kitchen. From 9 to 9:30, she would do a show from her home, okay? And she would be, the people that would come in, all right? We'd zoom in, and it was unbelievable up until the time she was able to go back out and start performing again. But every Friday, I would say from the time we would close, even up until almost like Memorial Day, she was doing something from her house, and it was amazing. I used to look forward to it. It was like something to look forward to every Friday night, and it actually took my mind off of what was going on.
Problems.
Yeah, and my mother and I would be dancing in the kitchen. We didn't, for that
That's
half
the way
hour.
life should be.
Exactly.
Remaining happy and
Yes.
and not be so stressed out with, can I pay my electric bill? Can I pay?
Yeah, exactly. And for that half hour, you weren't thinking about COVID at all. You know, what was going on, what was being shutting down. Am I going to get the vaccine or whatever was coming out? And, yeah, it was exciting.
So that's great that you do that and you're so involved. Amazing.
Oh,
I love it. People need that. We need that.
Yeah.
And Broward needs more of that, more international women, more community service, and just the U.S. Constitutions. You were asking me about that earlier.
Right.
So going into my 4th year, I give every 8th grader in Broward County their own little pocket U.S. Constitution.
Oh, that's nice.
So the superintendent has blessed me every year. I'm meeting with him next week, and he signs off for me to deliver the U.S. Constitutions to every school,
That's great.
every homeschool, every charter, every synagogue, every single school, every 8th grader has gotten their pocket constitutions from me. And I'll tell you, and it's not just me, I have 70 to 80 volunteers. Part of the Rotary Club helps. It's just a huge outreach. So if anyone's interested in helping do it this year, since I have the elections, I'm going to need a little bit more help.
A little more help, exactly.
But we're going to get it done again.
You know, it's funny you were saying when you did this tropical fruit spread and you were talking about, St. Jude's and all that. My husband and I, well, it was really a gentleman that when my husband was working down at the dealership, he'd come in and he befriended him, okay? And when he passed away, he made my husband the executor of his will.
Oh, wow.
And in that will, and we made sure it got there, he donated $500,000 to St. Jude's.
That's a blessing.
Unbelievable. We made sure that all the banks sent the money, okay, that he appropriated to St. Jude's, because I was watching that commercial yesterday of St. Jude's, and my heart breaks when I see those kids. And I said, Stan, if anybody went body and soul into heaven, you did. Imagine $500,000 to St. Jude's. And that's what I said to you. I work with the World Dames, because every dollar that they get goes towards this cancer research. And when they do their events, it's a sellout. Their luncheon they did.
We have to end cancer.
Oh.
We have to end it.
And I was very lucky when I had all that kidney surgery, and now my kidneys are totally clear. There's no swelling, no stones. The first thing the doctor said to me, and he knew I was working with the World Dames, he said, you're not going to hear those 3 words. You're going to hear the opposite.
Amen.
You do not have cancer.
Amen.
I said, okay. So, and that was, having that large kidney stone, that was a big part. Well, you know what happened? Nobody was really operating during COVID. So I'd had this stone, and they were watching it. The only time you went in the hospital, if heart attack, stroke, or you had COVID, the thing, it just grew, and it just grew, and it just grew.
Wow.
Where it got to the point where it was practically covering the entire kidney. I'm lucky I didn't get sepsis. I was going into it, but I was lucky.
Meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Yes.
And a lot of times, where my doctor's one office that he has, there's a beautiful pond there with these swans, and I always go outside and I just look up and I say, why? When I see some of these people that had problems with their kidneys and they've had their legs amputated because of, and I just look up at the sky and I go, why? Give me the reason, but give me the reason to go on to help those people.
That's right. And look what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't stop.
No, I don't.
And we
stop.
have to. We have to keep going. Whether you're educating youth, whether you're educating seniors, educating VAs,
Right.
we have to keep helping. That's what we were put on this planet for. I really believe that.
Exactly.
We all have a calling. Every person has a purpose.
Every person.
Every person. Yes.
Exactly.
And I love what I do. I mean, I love educating the youth, and wherever I can help with, you know, like I did the fashion show in the mall, which I know some of that money also went toward cancer research. So we're always giving. My husband Armando and I, 22 years this April.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a blessing. 𝐂𝐤𝐿𝐤 man, another Cuban guy, you know, we were talking about
Yes.
𝐂𝐤𝐿𝐤 in Miami, but and Vicky Bakery, he grew up in Vicky. Every weekend that was a treat. So that also was part of the inspiration to open up our Vicky Bakery. But yeah, we have to continue to be those women that charge forward and help wherever we can. And that's why a lot of people say, why are you doing it? I'm like, because it's just a calling for me.
Yeah. And you know, speaking of women, it's, you know, of course, belonging to the Global Trade Chamber and Maria with 100 Successful Women in Business. Back in 2019, I was awarded the 100 Successful Women in Business Award, and I'm now an ambassador for the Chamber and 100 Successful Women. And when Melina had done all of this during COVID, I reached out to a friend of mine who was working with the White House, and we got her the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had gotten it as well for empowering women. Thank you. And my husband got it. Now, when my husband got it, I said, well, I can understand why he was in service and some of the things he did, but when I got it, I didn't understand why, and I had said, Mr. President, I'm not sure what I'm getting. He said, you empower women.
Yes,
He said, you empower women around the world and in this country, and that's the reason why. He said, you're getting that award. So I was honored. But what Melina did, unbelievable.
But what you continue to do, empowering, having me on the show so people get to know me.
Get to know, exactly.
I appreciate that.
No, but anyway, my wonderful Max here is telling me we've got about 5 minutes left. So what would you like to tell our viewers?
I would like to tell you all, your voice matters. If you don't vote, you can't complain. You can't say, Mary, you didn't help, you didn't do this. You can't complain. You must get out and vote. Right. August 18th is the primaries.
Yes.
So you have to be registered to vote in the primary. And then our elections are in November, as you know, November 3rd. And we're going to be voting for the governor. And we're also going to be voting for the state house race. I'm running to be your state house representative, which covers Sunrise, Plantation, Davie, Cooper City, Southwest Ranches, and a small section of Pembroke Pines. And I want to be your voice in Tallahassee. But I can't get there if you don't vote for Mery Lopez-Palma. And if you want to read more about me, just go to Mery Lopez-Palma. My name's spelled a little unique, M-E-R-Y, LopezPalma.com. Reach out to me, reach out and to any of us. We're here to help. And if you want to learn more about the grant money, reach out to me as well. I'm still a practicing real estate attorney, so I'm here to help you in any way that I can. And come visit me at Vicky. And if you're military, veteran, police, or fire, you get 20% off at my Vicky Bakery.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it first, okay? Mery Lopez. And like she said, if you don't vote, if you don't, whatever you believe in, okay, let your voice be heard. But if you don't vote, then you're right. You have no way of saying, oh, I'm not being helped because you didn't vote for what you believed in. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again so much for being on the show. It's been absolutely amazing. You've given a lot of our viewers some great information. And you also should go to Vicky's Bakery. It's, from what I hear, it's absolutely spectacular from all the people I know that have gone there. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to thank you for tuning in to Make Our World Your Runway. And as always, we tell you to stay tuned because every week we have another fabulous guest or a fabulous show planned. So once again, thank you for tuning in today, and we'll see you next week.